Tonight, Alberta launches an investigation after a man dies in an ER waiting room.
I said, my husband is having severe chest pain. How long is it going to be?
His family says he waited more than 8 hours, his pain getting worse. Now they want answers. Plenty of positivity, but no breakthrough after talks between the U.S. and Ukrainian president.
We could be very close.
But is Russia even ready for peace? American booze disappeared off many store shelves, but some Canadian distillers say they're not benefiting.
Personally, I've seen a small increase, but it's not massive.
The surprisingly small gains for Ontario spirits.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thanks for joining us. Ian is away. Tonight, people in BC's Fraser Valley are bracing for yet another overnight emergency room closure, the latest in a growing pattern of shutdowns plaguing the province. Well, in Alberta, the province is now investigating after a 44-year-old man made it to the ER but didn't survive the wait. His grieving family says he was experiencing chest pains, then waited 8 hours to see a doctor. Now his widow wants answers, and the province has ordered a review. Anis Hedari has the family's emotional story that's renewing concerns about ER wait times.
Niharika Srikumar will never forget watching her husband die.
He was gone. Because I was slapping, Prashant, wake up, don't. And somebody pulled me back.
Last week, 44-year-old Prashant went to this Edmonton ER complaining of chest pain. His family says he was in the waiting room for more than 8 hours and died from an apparent cardiac arrest.
He was sitting in the triage complaining of constant chest pain.
This video, captured by family friends just after he died, spread around the world on social media. The family says Prashant's blood pressure was high and his pain was getting worse. They believe he was not triaged properly.
I said, my husband is having severe chest pain. How long is it going to be? I want to know what was more acute there. I want to know what was more acute there than Prashant.
Grey Nuns Hospital is run by Covenant Health, which said it could not comment on specifics, including the circumstances around Prashant's death. Now, the province has ordered a review. Alberta's Minister for Hospitals said the agencies involved will jointly review the circumstances and potential contributing factors. But even before an investigation, this emergency physician says hospitals are stretched past their limits.
When they go with a loved one with a problem, are they going to wait 12 hours and die, or are they going to end up at a closed emergency department? I don't know how it's an inescapable conclusion. That Canadians' confidence must be rocked by all of this.
And since Edmonton's last hospital was built in 1988, the population has nearly doubled, so there may not be enough room in any department.
And this means that patients who come to the emergency room who need to be admitted get stuck there.
No answer will dull the grief for a man this family called their superhero.
My middle son cries every night. His bedsheet was soaked in tears. And my youngest got up, and today he said, I want to go to daddy.
A memorial service for Prashant is planned on New Year's Eve. In the meantime, a fundraising campaign for the family has raised more than $130,000.
And Denise, is the hospital's review going to look at capacity issues?
We reached out to the province for some clarity, and we're told that details on what the review will include are still to come. At the same time, the provincial coroner's office is investigating this death as well. Erica.
Thanks for this. Anis Hedari reporting in Edmonton tonight. In BC, emergency rooms are being forced to close overnight during the holidays. Health officials say there simply aren't enough staff. It's a problem that's plagued the province all year. And as Yasmin Ranea explains, it's left some communities at risk.
For the 7th time this year, the emergency department at this Fraser Valley Hospital in Mission, BC is closing overnight for a week.
There were just bigger gaps in the schedule that would not make it safe.
And in the province's interior, what was supposed to be a 12-hour closure at the only ER in 100 Mile House has stretched to 36 hours.
It's a very large impact, not just making people themselves nervous about what if they go out and they get hurt. We're on the major highway connecting Vancouver to Alaska. We see, I don't even know, 10,000 cars a day go through, and we've had a couple of major incidents in the last couple of days.
Emergency room closures are plaguing every corner of the province, from northern BC to the Okanagan, Metro Vancouver, and Vancouver Island. Health authorities say a shortage of doctors and nurses is fueling the issue.
We are always actively recruiting, and we're recruiting very aggressively, as probably every other health authority is in the province, to deal with this.
Across the country, healthcare workers say they're experiencing burnout. It's part of the reason the entire OBGYN department in Kamloops resigned their hospital privileges earlier this year.
And the question is it safe?
The union, representing over 4,500 paramedics and emergency dispatchers in BC, says ER closures in remote and rural communities mean long, risky drives.
Say if the other community or the other hospital is 2 hours away, that effectively can turn into a 4 or even a 6 hour delay for an ambulance in the home community. Now, if that community doesn't have another ambulance staff there, that community could effectively have 0 ambulances for 6 even longer hours.
The provincial government says it's working on solutions that support stable, reliable emergency care, changes that will take time. Yasmin Ghanaya, CBC News, Mission, BC.
A plan to stop the war in Ukraine remains out of reach tonight. At a meeting in Florida, both U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelenskyy insist progress is being made. But as Karen Pauls shows us, Vladimir Putin is undermining that optimism.
Worshippers at this Ukrainian Catholic church in Washington, always thinking of family and friends back home.
No one is more ready for peace than Ukraine. All Ukrainians are praying for peace. I know that so many families are affected, including mine.
But after a closely watched meeting between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and U.S. President Donald Trump in Florida, progress, but no deal.
We're getting a lot closer, maybe very close.
We have great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and U.S.-Ukraine security guarantees, 100% agreed.
The revised 20-point peace plan includes a possible demilitarized economic zone monitored by an international force. But it appears there was little progress on a major sticking point, Ukrainian territorial concessions in the Donbass region.
Some of that land is maybe up for grabs, but it may be taken over the next period of a number of months. And are you better off making a deal now?
Perhaps the biggest obstacle of all, Russian President Vladimir Putin. He wasn't at the Mar-a-Lago meeting, but Trump spoke with him by phone.
I saw a very interesting President Putin today. I mean, he wants to see it happen. He wants to see it. He told me very strongly. I believe him.
But just Saturday, Putin had a very different take on state media. If the authorities in Kyiv don't want to settle this business peacefully, he says, we'll resolve all the problems before us by military means. As if to underscore the point, a massive Russian attack on Kyiv this weekend, killing at least 2 people and leaving many without heat.
I think that Trump is delusional if he truly thinks that Putin wants peace.
This expert doesn't think a peace agreement is anywhere near a done deal.
Quite the contrary, that every time there seems to be some degree of progress, Putin has launched a new round in the war.
Zelenskyy says the U.S. and Ukrainian teams will keep hammering out some of those remaining issues. And Erica, he and European leaders may be back in Washington next month for another meeting with Trump.
And Karen, are there any meetings planned with Russia?
Well, Trump says he's not ruling out a trilateral meeting with Russia at the table. But even he admitted negotiations could still break down and leave this war dragging on for years. Erica?
Karen Pauls in Washington tonight. Thank you. Firefighters are investigating the cause of a deadly fire in Charlottetown. 2 people died and 3 others were taken to hospital after flames tore through an apartment building. Some residents had to be rescued through windows to escape the flames. Fire crews say it was under control within an hour of arriving on the scene. The Red Cross is providing emergency food, clothing, and housing to some of the 20 people displaced. A group of American distillers is taking aim at Canada, complaining the LCBO and other provincial liquor stores give Canadian products an unfair advantage. But as Michelle Allen shows us, Canadian producers say they're not reaping the benefits.
This Ontario distillery owner says it's been a tumultuous year for the spirits industry. After the province pulled American liquor off the shelves, he had hoped more consumers would buy Canadian. But
Personally, I've seen a small increase, but it's not massive.
year-end numbers from the Liquor Control Board of Ontario show a 20% increase in Ontario products, particularly Canadian whiskey. On the flip side, American distilleries are taking a hit, saying exports to Canada have decreased as much as 85%. A group of major American distilleries have now submitted a complaint to the U.S. government asking for tariffs to be removed and return of U.S. spirits to the retail shelves of all Canadian provinces. They say Canadian retailers are favoring local alcohol over American, which they say is an unfair trading practice. But Jack says Ontario just hasn't seized the opportunity.
There hasn't been a huge push to bring awareness to new products or really focus on replacing the American products or the space left by the American products being removed with Canadian-made products. You're seeing a lot of that shelf space being taken up by big brand Irish products. The Irish whiskey, the Scotch whiskeys of the world are filling up a lot, as opposed to using this time to help grow the awareness of smaller producers.
Experts say Canadian distillers are also up against shifting consumer trends, like younger people drinking less alcohol and the high cost of living.
And also they're experiencing these very significant price increases in the food prices. So they're just saying, oh, I'm just not going to buy it right now. I'll do without.
Yeah, we barely drink anymore because, again, it's just another bill.
We try to stay Canadian, but yeah, it's definitely the price.
Only Alberta and Saskatchewan have lifted their ban on American booze. It's not clear when or if Ontario will do the same. Michelle Allen, CBC News, Toronto.
Changes are coming to what you can and can't recycle in Ontario. Michelle Song now on how the province has been able to expand what it takes in and the potential flaw in the plan.
The holidays mean buying more stuff and maybe an extra cup of hot chocolate, and that equals more waste. But now people in Ontario will be able to put more in the blue bin.
I actually try to recycle as much as I can.
It's better than throwing them in the trash.
As of January 1st, new everyday products like these will be included in the province's recycling program and can be sorted thanks to advancing AI technology.
So now we're going to look at one of the optical sorters.
The province is also moving towards a producer responsibility model, which takes the cost of recycling away from municipalities and puts it on the companies that produce the packaging. Circular Materials is managing the new system.
But it's all now also operated and funded by producers. So they now have an interest in ensuring the system is optimized and also improving their packaging so they can ensure it gets recycled.
When we talk about the deodorant and toothpaste tube, there's a lot of residual material.
This waste management expert says it's one thing to collect these items, but it's another challenge to turn them into something new.
Just because you spend money on collecting and sorting doesn't magically make it of value to an end market. And to the best of my knowledge, there are no end markets for toothpaste tubes. There are no end markets for black plastics.
The province has set targets for recyclable materials.
We'll have to report every year and we'll have to report on how much of the material is actually recycled. So for paper, target is 80%. For flexible plastics, for the initial years, it's 10%, and then that'll move up to 15% and eventually 25%.
And that data will be publicly available through annual reports. But experts say it's important to reduce and reuse first, because what you put in the blue bin may not actually be recycled. Michelle Song, CBC News, Toronto.
Officials are warning those going into the backcountry to be properly prepared for the conditions after rescuing an injured snowmobiler in BC's Okanagan Valley. Search and rescue teams near Vernon airlifted the sledder Saturday afternoon after their snowmobile rolled over on rough terrain. They were alerted to the mishap when a group of riders deployed a satellite SOS device. The injured snowmobiler was taken to hospital for treatment. Tonight, fans around the world are remembering French actress Brigitte Bardot.
Oh no, I prefer this kind of film. I will be a serious actress when I will be older.
Bardot became a global celebrity with And God Created Woman, a film that foresaw the sexual liberation of the 1960s. With her tousled hair and distinctive eye makeup, she was cast in parts that traded on her looks and drew big crowds. Bardot quit acting at age 39 and devoted herself to animal welfare. But she often drew more attention with controversial remarks about gay people, Muslims, and the Me Too movement. She was fined multiple times for inciting racial hatred. In later life, she spoke with bitterness about her movie career, saying fame had stolen her privacy and happiness. Her death moved some fans to leave flowers at a statue of Bardot in Saint-Tropez. A celebration 110 years in the making for Canada's oldest person.
He does a lot of reading and watches the news, so he keeps up to date and it keeps his mind active.
Bird Sisler and his loved ones reflect on a lifetime of service, family, and fun. Meet the women who are rewriting the rules of family and aging.
It's been a very important phase in my life that's just been great. Come back to me begging, why'd you leave? Tell me why.
Plus, we revisit Ian's conversation with Canadian music legend Sarah McLachlan. We're back in 2. An Ontario man is celebrating his first holiday season as the oldest living Canadian. Brigitte Sisler is 110 years old, and as Philippe de Montigny found out, the Second World War vet credits his longevity to a simple life and strong community.
Slice all the way down, Dad.
At 110, Bird Sisler is now the oldest living person in Canada. The Ontario resident has lived through 2 world wars and 2 pandemics, yet he says he's never stepped foot inside a hospital.
I wasn't even born in a hospital. I was born on the kitchen table.
Sisler was born in the U.S. in April 1915, but grew up in Toronto after his father was sent there to launch Goodyear's first Canadian factory.
Now this is where we keep the displays.
At 28, he joined the Army.
We have his discharge papers, his uniform, of course.
And served as a sergeant telecommunications mechanic during the Second World War.
He does express once in a while about the fellows that never made it back.
Right.
And he does feel bad about that.
His uniform is kept at the Royal Canadian Legion in Fort Erie, where he settled after the war and raised a family that just keeps growing.
5 children,
11 grandchildren,
22 great-grandchildren, and 14 great-great-grandchildren. Goes back a long way.
It's a big tree now.
Sisler spent about 30 years working as a border agent, and one of his colleagues is now Fort Erie's mayor.
At the time I was in my 20s, I thought he was old then. I had no idea that I would become old and he would become the oldest Canadian. And Bird, that's you.
For him, the secret to a long life is simple.
You have to look after your body.
He rarely drank, did not smoke. He even bowled until he was 103.
He does a lot of reading and watches the news, so he keeps up to date and it keeps his mind active. He'd still be doing Sudoku if he could see better.
I think that's one reason he got to this age, because he just kept going.
And although he's slowing down, the 110-year-old hopes to keep on going. Philippe de Montigny, CBC News, Fort Erie, Ontario.
From the studio to the stage to screens everywhere, Sarah McLachlan is busier than ever.
I think music in general is, it's more inclusive, it's more welcoming, and if we had a part in that, I'm really happy.
The Canadian singer reflects on her career and the state of music in 2025.
It's meant that I'm living with a family in a sense, you know, which is really lovely.
And the Ottawa women choosing each other later in life. Stay with us. It's been another milestone year for Sarah McLachlan. The Canadian musician released her 10th album and toured North America, all while a new documentary paid tribute to the groundbreaking all-female music festival she founded. Ian Hannah-Mansing sat down with McLachlan earlier this year to discuss it all.
80, I do believe I failed you.
So I love this. This is like a living Sarah McLachlan scrapbook. You were on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
I was, yeah, that was pretty thrilling.
And this headline, is this about you, flower child with a filthy mind?
Apparently, yeah.
And are you?
Flower child? I'm pretty granola. I would not say I have a filthy mind. Maybe I have a bit of a dirty mouth, a potty mouth, but I've tried to, you know, keep that in check because I've tempered that somewhat as I've gotten older.
At 57, Sarah McLachlan is comfortable looking back, but there's still a lot ahead. We talked about her new album, an upcoming documentary about Lilith Fair, and on a candid personal note, her challenges as a parent.
I had to eat a lot of humble pie and figure out how to change the way I was reacting to her, parenting her, talking to her.
We met at the Sarah McLachlan School of Music in Vancouver. Sarah, it's always a pleasure to sit down and chat with you.
Thank you.
A few months ago, you posted on Instagram that you had lost your voice. You had to abruptly end your tour. A lot of people were really worried. How are you doing now?
And bummed out, yeah, including myself. I'm great now. It was a really kind of a scary winter because I had just finished my record, at least all the vocals for it, and I had gone out in the spring doing the Fumbling Towards Ecstasy 30th anniversary tour. I kind of blew my voice doing rehearsals, and then ended up having to take steroids the entire time, and those steroids often put you in a false sense of security, so I kept pushing through, and then I thought I was okay. I took the summer off to recuperate, and then went back out in the fall to the Canadian leg, and got a vicious virus like 2 days in, and it just knocked me out and lost my voice completely, and had to cancel the whole tour, which was a real drag. And I went in to my ENT, and she's like, yeah, you've done some damage. So you need to go on vocal rest, no talking for 3 months, and then, you know, we'll reassess. And so it might be 6 months. And so I kind of went through the whole winter unsure of whether I'd be able to sing again. And I so love this new record. And also beyond that, it's kind of how I strongly how I identify my purpose on this earth. So to think that, okay, I might be done. I might not be able to sing anymore. I might have really messed things up.
It was that bad?
It was that bad, yeah. Anyway, everything worked out really well, and I got a clean bill of health, and I've just been doing vocal rehab, and so far so good.
And there's this new documentary that's out now. 26 years since Lilith Fair ended. 26 years.
That's crazy.
Singer Sarah McLachlan has launched an all-female tour.
This was the first time you'd seen anything like it.
Finding out that all of my favorite artists had played at this event.
As you look back, what do you think or hope the impact of Lilith Fair has been?
Well, I know some of the impact. I mean, I put all the money that I made from Lilith into a foundation, which started this music school, which is now we're 24 years in. So that's a tangible legacy of Lilith. Over the years, I've had so many young women and young men, for that reason, you know, come up to me and say, I was there, it changed me, you all showed me that I could do and be anything I wanted to be, and particularly women. But also young men saying, you know, I felt, young gay men, I felt safe for the first time being out in a concert environment. And so I think, you know, the ripples of that, the ripples within our community as artists, I think that's really shifted. I think we forcibly shifted and changed attitudes within the music industry. We proved that you can play women back-to-back on the radio, you can put more than 2 women on the stage. Oh, people will actually come. They won't be horrified and run the other direction.
Now we're living in Taylor Swift's world, where she is the biggest star with no asterisk. What do you think of the state of women in music in 2025?
I think music in general is, it's more inclusive, it's more welcoming, and if we had a part in that, I'm really happy. And I'm so proud of Taylor Swift and everything she's accomplished. She has women open up for her all the time. Other artists, Brandi Carlile is championing women. Like, if you look at the charts now, they are dominated by women. So it's a fantastic thing to see.
Let's talk about your new album, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
And there are a couple of videos out there already, and one of them, Better Broken.
So don't come back to me begging, why'd you leave? Tell me why. How could you let this go? Let it be all it is, small and still, a memory like a stone, a jagged edge made smooth by time.
As I listen to this new album, I wonder, at this stage in your life, are you thinking to yourself, this has got to be big, I want this to be a hit? Or are you, like I felt like you're at a stage where you can say, I'm going to write and perform and put this out in the world and let it have the impact that it has.
Absolutely, and I will say that I've been incredibly lucky in my career that I have kind of always got to do that.
My walls are getting wider and my eyes are drawn astray. See you now, a vague deception of a dying day.
A little bit less right at the beginning. There was definitely pressure to put out, radio hits, but I've been very lucky not to be A&R'd and been given the artistic freedom to figure out who I am through my music and kind of just follow that muse, which is an amazing gift. And with this record, I did feel that similar freedom. But I always also put a ton of pressure on myself of this has to be really good. It came with this trepidation of being gone from the industry for a long time, and also, what do I have to say as a 57-year-old woman of privilege? Like, okay, where's my place in this world right now? What do I need to say? And so that was kind of nerve-wracking to figure out that, but as we started making the record, things just kind of, they develop and they become clearer. So there was never sort of a pre-existing idea of what this was supposed to sound like. To me, it's always about the journey and the exploration and getting together a crew of people who are incredibly creative and will bring their own unique voices to the project. And that's the funnest part.
It's been a long year, so much has happened that we both wish hadn't. When the snow falls, be it real or full, all the past will disappear with all the problems. Leave your baggage by the door.
Let's talk a little bit about this music school. And so you said that the proceeds, your proceeds from Lilith Fair, are what funds this school and the other school projects?
Well, a certain amount of the money that I made, I put into a foundation, and then as I was deciding what to do, a lot of the public schools were shutting down their music programs, so that kind of became an obvious focus for me, and ended up using that money to start to seed this this project, which started out as 200 kids, and then it's just grown.
I was just thinking, one time one of my kids changed piano teachers, and the new teacher asked my son, what do you hope for in learning how to play the piano? And he was young at that point, didn't really have an answer, and she goes, here's what I hope for. I hope you play for the rest of your life for fun. And I thought, what a great thing to say. What a perfect thing to say. When you're looking at these talented young students here, what do you hope for them?
I hope that they come away from this program with some skill, which they will, but perhaps more importantly, the social emotional growth is the thing that I'm most excited about, the community that's built, the resilience and teamwork, and being part of something bigger than yourself, the vulnerability and the openness it takes to work with your peers, especially like in songwriting or learning any kind of instrument, any kind of learning where you you have to be open and you have to kind of put yourself out there. That's scary. And to do that in an environment that is really safe and loving and nurturing is kind of amazing. I grew up in the Royal Conservatory system, which was all competition, right? You competed at the Kiwanis Music Festival, you did exams at the end of the year, your recitals, everybody's kind of just glaring at you, waiting for you to get out of there so their kid can go up and shine. And I never liked that, the rigors of it and the strictness of it, and wanted to create a program that was way more fluid and giving kids, like your teacher said to your child, giving them some agency and saying, what do you want to get out of this? What are you interested in? And having kids having them, you know, they're asked that, they have way more, you know, buy into the program, and they get to learn things that they're interested in. And so you engage them at their level, you keep them engaged. Like, we have an amazing retention rate. So there are so many pluses, so many benefits from, you know, that we already know about music education, and this particular community that we've built is incredibly loving and caring. Like, I see young girls coming up on stage, you know, to do a solo, terrified, crying, running off stage. Other girls go backstage, take her by the hand and say, come on, we're gonna do this together. And that, to me, is success, especially young girls, because I grew up, as I said, with that Royal Conservatory system, making music in isolation. And this is all about community.
I'm thinking back to a few of the scenes in the documentary where you talk about how your mother did not support your music, you know?
Well, she supported.
After the break, McLachlan discusses a difficult relationship with her mother and her own struggles as a parent.
I thought I was doing the polar opposite of everything my mother was doing, but it turns out, you know, sometimes words will slip out of your mouth, and you think, you know, I promised I would never ever say that to my child.
Yours is a lie.
I'm thinking back to a few of the scenes in the documentary where you talk about, and I don't know how sensitive or not sensitive this is, you talk about how your mother did not support your music, you know?
Well, she supported my music in the sense that they gave me private music lessons, but I think for her, the idea that I might actually go and do something like that for a profession was utterly terrifying and made no sense to her either. So no, she did not support that. She's like, you'll fail. Why would you do that? Why would you put yourself in that position? That's terrifying. But because she couldn't see past her own life and how she had so many things that she wanted to do, but she was afraid to. And I think she lived with a ton of resentment and kind of anger because of that. And I think, so she was doing a lot of projecting. I didn't understand it at the time, but it, you know, as I got older and wiser, somehow it started to make a little more sense.
We're both parents, and being a parent's so tough, and who knows what shapes us as parents, but I think our parents do to an extent, right?
Like it or not.
Yeah, well, we try to copy what the good things are, and we try to avoid what we think the bad things are. How has what your mother said to you about music kind of affected the way you are as a parent?
Well, I thought I was doing the polar opposite of everything my mother was doing, but it turns out, you know, sometimes words will slip out of your mouth, and you think, you know, I promised I would never ever say that to my child. And so, yes, the patterns are very ingrained. You know, one of the things that my mom said to me that was actually really solid and smart was, do not ever, ever be financially dependent on a man. And I took that to heart. But I think, yeah, I really just tried to do the opposite. You know, I tried to be I am by nature really loving and affectionate, giving my kids a lot of freedom to figure out who they were and nurturing that and being super supportive of whatever it was. So I think I took that piece of it that, you know, she loved that I was interested in art and music and wanted to nurture that piece. But, you know, I'm like, going off to university. It's like, if you don't want to go to university, if that's not your jam, that's okay. I want you to figure out who you are. And so that's always been the way I've parented my kids.
And so far, so good?
So far, so good, yeah. My firstborn and I were kind of like oil and water, and we had a tumultuous relationship growing up, but we went to family systems counseling. It doesn't have to be a long story, but when she was about 19, and that saved both of us, and it saved our relationship. Yeah, it was amazing. Just a complete seismic shift in how I communicate with her.
But not only is it nice of you and impressive that you would be candid about that, I'm sure like people would think, Sarah McLachlan, like the empathetic, sort of you listen to your music.
Oh
and
yeah,
it's,
I'm a hard ass as a parent though.
Like I can't, you know, I'm trying to square that person I've seen on stage and with having to like get help to deal with your daughter.
I'm super loving and I'm super open, but I was also a hard ass.
Yeah.
And the way I tried to enforce that to get my youngest daughter to be self-reliant and to push through hard things, it just shut her down. And it made her feel not safe with me. I mean, and that's an awful thing to admit to, and I'm okay with it now, but it was a really hard thing to come to terms with. And this is part of what happened in counseling, what, you know, peeling back all the layers of the onion, where it's like, she had a really hard time at her first year in university during COVID, and she came back a mess, and I couldn't help her. She would not open up to me. Wow. And I'm like, I'm your mother, how could you not open? I've got your back more than anybody else, but she did not feel that way. So I had to eat a lot of humble pie and figure out how to change the way I was reacting to her, parenting her, talking to her, so that she would trust that I was safe. And you know, the counseling did that. It was hard work, but you know, she's my baby, and you want more than anything for your baby to thrive and to be happy and to be successful in life. So it's like, I'll do anything.
And some of this is captured in at least one of the songs on your album.
Yeah, Gravity is kind of all about that. It's sort of in the midst of it when it's that fear as a parent when you see your kids suffering and you don't know how to help them. It's a terrifying position to be in. You just want your kid to be okay.
It's hard the way you look at me with a rage I cannot place, but I'm not the enemy. I'll carry you through your pain.
Let me finish with this. It's clear watching the Lilith Fair documentary that you were driven by this goal of elevating the place and respecting the place of women in music. Those were the things, I think, that drove you in the 90s and the 2000s. It's 2025 now. What drives you now?
Musically, very similar things. But, you know, in a more sort of a holistic view, I love this school so much. I love the fact that we get to provide a solid music education and great mentorship to a lot of youth, and helping kids find their voice and find their sense of self-worth and autonomy through music is really powerful. So that's the most exciting thing for me.
And Sarah McLachlan's influence is still resonating with fans today. That new album, Better Broken, debuted in September. It immediately landed on Billboard and iTunes top 10 lists. Coming up, a pod of orcas puts on a splashy show.
Oh, they are coming right to us. Jeez.
Their performance on the water is next in our moment. Growing older on your own terms in your own home takes a lot of planning and dedication. But for a group of Ottawa women, doing it with their best friends has made life even richer. Omar Debegi Pacheco shows us how the Canadian Golden Girls are creating family as they navigate their senior years together.
See that house over there? It's got a story to tell. It's one of the first stories I ever told for CBC. It's 2010, I walk in there, I meet 3 women in their 70s. They're determined to live independently, to age gracefully, and to take care of each other until the very end. I called them the Golden Girls. Now, they don't live there anymore, but I always wanted to know how it all turned out for them. Barbara Riley, Joe Wood, Virginia Carver, friends for decades.
It's meant that I'm living with a family in a sense, you know, which is really lovely.
From youth to their senior years.
You know, we don't know what's coming in the future, but we're both staying healthy.
But age is not something the 3 friends thought about too much. They were too busy living.
Is there something that stood out to you and Virginia at the time that you said, yeah, those people? I'm going to age with those people.
No, at the time. Oh, no, I wasn't going to age.
When age did start to cross their mind, they made a pact. They bought a home together, created an elaborate legal arrangement, and made a pledge to never leave each other's sides.
You know, the expectation might be that your children will take care of you, but life doesn't work out according to one's expectations.
20 years into that project, they lived up to that promise. 2 of them remain, more like family than friends.
I'm very lucky, though, because I have a family through marriage in Ottawa, and as well as Joe, who's, of course, number 1.
Is she your number 1, too?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we try to look out for each other.
2 best friends, but there used to be 3. Virginia Carver, she died in 2017. She got Lewy body disease. It's a type of dementia, and in that first interview years ago, she told me why this arrangement meant so much for her.
I mean, even now, you know, you tend to get more forgetful as you get older. You know, we lose things. I guess there's more chance that maybe you'll have a fall or, you know, something might happen. And to have built-in kind of mutual social and emotional support is great.
In those last few years of her life, Virginia was right there where she wanted to be, in her own place, with her closest connections, and when the worst case scenario happened, they had a plan.
Virginia gradually had to give up doing things, and you know, we got to the point where she would do part of the supper, but then we would help with the supper, and you know, it's a gradual thing, so it doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks.
Until it did. A trip to the market meant crossing this busy street to head into a crowd of people. Joe lost sight of Virginia, and it was the first realization that things were about to get really tough.
She'd almost totally lost her sense of direction and didn't pay attention to things like traffic lights and things like that, you know. So she was with me, and I kept trying to make sure she didn't wander off. But she did. That was the scariest moment of my life, you know, just not to be able to find her.
Virginia did find her way back home, but it was a wake-up call.
Joe just took on the responsibility of taking Virginia to all her appointments, of which she had many. I kind of did some hands-on stuff like showers and wash your hair, and we took her out for walks. But it was full time.
What kind of planning, what kind of advice, what's the thing you want people to know if they're thinking about entering into something like this?
Know them well enough to know their values so that you know how they might react in various situations.
What you also need is a lawyer who's willing to think outside the box.
What made this such a terrific experience with these guys was they were just so common sense. They were just great thinkers. They had thought it through. They had a deep, deep friendship, so they made my job pretty easy.
When Virginia died, they downsized. They live in a smaller place, but they still have a pact.
You've got 2 decades of this under your belt, more than 2 decades. What's it meant to you?
It's been a very important phase in my life that's just been great. I'm just so glad we did it. Yeah, and in every way.
It was a combination of an adventure. This is going to be a lot of fun because the 2 people I was moving in with were a lot of fun. And we're going to be like a family. And in fact, that's exactly, both of those have happened.
A really great adventure, and will continue to be a great adventure for as long as it can.
So how did it turn out? Was it unusual? Yeah, kind of. But for these friends, with a little bit of planning and a lot of commitment, it really did turn into the adventure of a lifetime.
That was Omar Debaghi-Pacheco reporting. Well, this holiday season, The National is bringing you a countdown of the most popular moments from the last year. And tonight we return to a warm day on the water for a lucky group of friends in BC who witnessed a rare and special performance by a pod of orcas. That encounter makes our moment.
Some friends and I were getting together. Wow! We were on the west side of Gambier Island, and we saw a pod of whales quite a ways away. They seemed to make a conscious turn towards us and came in very close.
Oh, they are coming right to us. Jeez.
And we're basically doing lots of tricks and something like you might have a front row seat at SeaWorld.
Now they're just showing off.
The middle-sized ones were flapping their tails up and down. The lead whale that was on its side, flapping its pectoral fin up and down and saying hi.
Wow! He's saying hi.
We just couldn't believe it. At one point, one of the kids said, "Can I ride it?"
Can I hop on that?
It just sort of reminded me of like a human family. It really keyed in on just how smart these mammals are and what an amazing species they are.
Wow. There were about 7 whales all told, from babies to full grown, all of them doing their playful tricks. And for some of the adults on board and all of the kids on the boat, they had not seen orcas in the wild. So this was pretty memorable. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Have a great night.